Welcome to Timeless Tales and Travels, where every story is a journey to another time and place. Before we begin tonight's tale, if you enjoy these escapes into the past, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more stories to life each week. Now, find a comfortable position, take a deep breath, and let's travel back in time together. Imagine it's 1952, and the last golden rays of autumn's sun are painting the Blue Ridge Mountains in shades of amber and copper. You're standing on a weathered wooden platform at a small train station somewhere deep in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. The air is crisp, carrying the sweet scent of wood smoke from distant chimneys and the earthy perfume of fallen leaves. The station is modest, just a small building with peeling white paint and a red tile roof that's seen better days. A single light bulb dangles from a rusty chain above the platform, casting a warm glow that grows brighter as the daylight fades. Through the station window, you can see an old pot-bellied stove, its belly glowing red, and a wooden bench worn smooth by generations of travelers. An elderly station master sits inside, his weathered face illuminated by the soft light of a kerosene lamp. He's reading yesterday's newspaper, occasionally glancing up at the large brass clock on the wall, its steady tick-tock the only sound besides the whisper of wind through the pines. His name is Samuel, and he's been manning this station for 43 years, ever since he came back from the First World War with a limp and a head full of memories he'd rather forget. The mountains rise on all sides like ancient guardians, their peaks disappearing into wisps of evening mist. A creek runs somewhere nearby. You can hear its gentle murmur, mixing with the rustling of leaves and the distant call of a whippoorwill announcing the approaching night. The whole world seems to be holding its breath, waiting for something. Then, from far away, so faint you almost think you've imagined it, comes the sound. A train whistle, low and lonesome, echoing through the valleys like the voice of an old friend calling you home. As the whistle sounds again, closer now, the platform begins to come alive. From the dirt road that winds down from the mountain, figures emerge from the gathering dusk. First comes Mrs. Eleanor Hutchins, a schoolteacher with silver hair pinned neatly beneath a navy blue hat. She's clutching a worn leather suitcase and a bundle of letters tied with string, correspondence with her sister in Charleston, whom she hasn't seen in 3 years. Behind her, a young soldier in his dress uniform walks with careful, measured steps. His name is Thomas Reed, just 21 years old, returning home after basic training at Fort Bragg. His mother doesn't know he's coming. It's meant to be a surprise. In his pocket, he carries a photograph of her standing in front of their farmhouse, taken the day he left. He's looked at it every night before sleep, memorizing every detail of home. An old farmer named Caleb arrives next, leading a small boy by the hand, his grandson, who's never seen the city before. They're headed to Richmond, where the boy's mother has finally found work in a factory. Caleb's face is a map of hard years and honest labor, but his eyes are gentle as he looks down at the child, who clutches a wooden toy train carved by his grandfather's own hands. One by one, they gather, a traveling salesman with a battered sample case full of brushes and miracle tonics, a young woman named Rose who's running away from an arranged marriage, her few belongings wrapped in a floral quilt, an old preacher with a Bible so worn the pages fall open naturally to his favorite verses. Samuel emerges from the station, his keys jingling as he lights the platform lamps with a long match. The warm light creates circles of gold in the growing darkness, and the waiting passengers draw closer together, their shadows long and wavering. Some make small talk about the weather, the harvest, the news from Korea. Others stand in silence, lost in their own thoughts, their own reasons for leaving or returning. The train whistle sounds a third time, much closer now, and everyone turns toward the sound. In the distance, beyond the bend where the tracks disappear into a tunnel of overhanging trees, a light appears. The great searching eye of the locomotive, cutting through the mountain darkness like a lighthouse beacon guiding lost ships home. The train emerges from the darkness like a creature from another age, a massive steam locomotive, number 2401, its black body gleaming in the lamplight, crowned with a plume of white steam that rises into the darkening sky like a ghost. The ground beneath your feet begins to tremble. The rails sing their metallic song. The air fills with the smell of coal smoke, hot metal, and machine oil, the perfume of progress and possibility. The engineer leans out from his cabin window, one hand on the whistle cord, his face illuminated by the orange glow of the firebox behind him. His name is William Red Mallister, and he's been running this route for 26 years, knows every curve and grade, every crossing and trestle. His fireman, a young black man named Isaiah Washington, is already shoveling coal into the hungry firebox, his silhouette dancing in the flames. With a great hissing of steam and shrieking of brakes, the train slows to a stop. The passenger cars stretch out behind the locomotive, 5 in all, their windows glowing warm yellow, revealing glimpses of life inside. Passengers reading, children pressing their faces to the glass. A porter making his way down the aisle with a silver coffee pot. The conductor steps down from the first passenger car, his gold watch chain catching the light. All aboard for Beckley, Charleston, and Richmond. His voice carries across the platform, official yet warm, a voice that's announced 1,000 departures and arrivals. 15-minute stop. 15 minutes. Samuel wheels a small cart of mailbags toward the mail car, and the passengers begin to board. The steps are high and steep. The conductor offers his white-gloved hand to Mrs. Hutchins, who accepts with a grateful nod. Young Thomas hefts his duffel bag and swings aboard in one smooth motion. Caleb lifts his grandson up, the boy's eyes wide with wonder at the size and power of the iron giant before him. Inside, the passenger car is a sanctuary of warm wood paneling and green velvet seats. Overhead, lamps with frosted glass shades cast a gentle glow. A coal stove at each end of the car keeps the chill at bay. The air smells of wood polish, coal smoke that seeped into everything over the years, and the faint sweetness of someone's perfume. The seats face each other in pairs, encouraging conversation, creating little communities of strangers who'll share the next few hours together. As the last passengers board, the conductor pulls out his pocket watch, checks it against the station clock, and nods to the engineer. Red Mallister pulls the whistle cord, one long, two short, and slowly, with a great exhalation of steam and a groan of coupling chains, the train begins to move. The train picks up speed gradually, its wheels finding their rhythm on the rails. A steady clickety-clack that becomes the heartbeat of the journey. The station falls away behind, Samuel raising his hand in farewell until the curve takes him from view. The train enters the embrace of the mountains, and suddenly it's as if you've stepped into another world. On both sides, the forest rises thick and dark, oak, maple, and pine, so dense that the moonlight barely penetrates. But here and there, clearings appear. A small farm with a single light in the window, smoke rising from the chimney. A church, white and solitary, on a hillside. A cemetery with stones so old the names have worn away, keeping watch over the valley below. Inside the car, life settles into the gentle rhythm of rail travel. Mrs. Hutchins has taken a window seat and opened one of her letters, reading by the overhead lamp, occasionally glancing out at the passing darkness. The young soldier, Thomas, sits across from an older man, a veteran of the Great War, and they talk in low voices about service and sacrifice, finding the understanding that only those who've worn the uniform can share. The farmer's grandson presses his face to the window, his breath making small clouds on the glass. "Grandpa, look, a deer." And sure enough, in a moonlit clearing, a doe stands frozen, watching the train pass, her eyes reflecting the light like small green lanterns before she bounds away into the safety of the trees. A porter moves through the car. A dignified man in his 50s named Marcus, who's worked this line since before the Depression. He knows most of the regular travelers by name, asks about their families, offers coffee from a silver pot or a blanket if someone looks cold. He's seen countless stories unfold on these trains, reunions and farewells, joy and sorrow, the whole drama of human life played out on these moving stages. "Coffee, ma'am?" he asks Rose, the young woman with the floral quilt bundle. She accepts with a shy smile, warming her hands on the cup. She's left everything she knew behind, heading toward an uncertain future in the city. But right now, in this moment, suspended between past and future, she feels a strange sense of peace. The train follows the river now. You can see it through the windows, a silver ribbon in the moonlight, appearing and disappearing as the tracks wind through the mountains. Sometimes the train runs right alongside it, so close you could almost reach out and touch the water. Other times it climbs high above on a trestle, and you can see the river far below, moving through the darkness like a living thing. As the night deepens, the rhythm of the train becomes almost hypnotic. Some passengers doze, their heads nodding with the gentle sway of the car. Others remain awake, lost in thought, watching the darkness stream past the windows or gazing at the reflection of the car's interior in the glass, a double world, interior and exterior, present and passing. Up in the locomotive, Red Mallister keeps his steady vigil. His hand rests lightly on the throttle, making constant small adjustments. A little more steam here, a little less there. He knows every mile of this route by heart, can feel through the throttle and the rails what's coming next. Isaiah feeds the firebox with rhythmic efficiency, the flames painting him in shades of orange and shadow. They don't talk much, don't need to. After years of running together, they understand each other perfectly. The train climbs into the higher elevations now, and the air grows colder. Marcus moves through the car, stoking the stoves, checking that everyone's comfortable. An elderly woman thanks him and offers him a piece of cornbread from a basket she's carrying. He accepts gratefully. It's still warm, and it tastes like home. Around midnight, the train stops at a tiny station. barely more than a platform with a single lamp. A woman gets on, carrying a sleeping infant wrapped in blankets. The conductor helps her aboard, speaking in hushed tones so as not to wake the child. She settles into a seat, and Mrs. Hutchins, motherly instincts never far from the surface, offers to hold the baby so the young mother can rest. A silent understanding passes between them, and soon both baby and mother are sleeping peacefully. The mountains outside are layered shadows now, peaks upon peaks, fading into the distance like waves on a dark ocean. Occasionally you pass through a small town, a cluster of lights, a few streets, maybe a diner that's still open, its neon sign reflecting in puddles from an earlier rain. Then it's gone, swallowed by the darkness, and the train is alone again with the night and the mountains and the steady rhythm of its wheels. Thomas, the young soldier, has been writing a letter by the overhead lamp. Finally, he folds it carefully and tucks it into his pocket. Words for his mother, things he couldn't say in person. He looks out the window at his own reflection and sees a man he barely recognizes, changed by just a few months away from home. He wonders if his mother will see the change, or if she'll still see only her boy. The first light of dawn comes slowly, almost reluctantly, as if the night is unwilling to let go. The darkness outside the windows gradually shifts from black to deep blue, and then to a softer gray. Shapes begin to emerge from the darkness, the silhouettes of trees, the curve of hillsides, the silver thread of the river. Most passengers are sleeping now, heads resting against windows or folded jackets, their breathing slow and regular. The car is quiet, except for the eternal rhythm of the rails and the occasional creak of the car's woodwork. Marcus has dimmed the overhead lamps, and the coal stoves have burned down to glowing embers. But Red Mallister never sleeps. He stands at his post as the sky ahead lightens, revealing the valley that's been hidden by darkness. The train begins its long descent, the locomotive's whistle echoing off the hillsides, announcing their arrival to the waking world below. As the sun breaks over the eastern ridge, it transforms everything. The mountains that were shadowy giants in the darkness now reveal themselves in shades of green and gold and russet. The river catches the light and sparkles like a string of diamonds. Mist rises from the valleys, creating layers of ethereal beauty that make the whole landscape look like a dream. One by one, the passengers awake. They blink, stretch, look out the windows at the transformed world. The farmer's grandson is the first to speak, his voice loud in the morning quiet. "Look, Grandpa, the sun is following us." And indeed, as the train curves through the valley, it seems as if the dawn is chasing them, painting everything gold. The train begins to slow as it approaches Charleston. The wild beauty of the mountains gives way to the outskirts of civilization. Small houses with wash hanging on lines, kitchen gardens, then larger buildings, warehouses, roads crowded with morning traffic. The clickety-clack of the rails changes pitch as the train crosses switches and sidings. Passengers begin to gather their belongings. Mrs. Hutchins carefully ties up her letters and straightens her hat. Rose clutches her quilt bundle and takes a deep breath. Here, in this city, her new life will begin. The soldier checks his uniform one more time, runs his hand through his hair, his stomach tight with anticipation and nervousness. The station appears ahead, a much grander affair than the mountain stop where the journey began. Red brick buildings, multiple platforms, crowds of people waiting. The locomotive's whistle sounds, long, loud, triumphant, announcing their arrival. With a great sigh of steam and a final shudder, the train comes to rest. For a moment, no one moves, as if reluctant to break the spell of the journey. Then the conductor opens the doors, and the spell is broken. Life rushes in, voices calling out, the smell of coffee and frying bacon from the station restaurant, the sound of other trains, the bustle of a city waking up. Mrs. Hutchins steps onto the platform and immediately spots her sister in the crowd. They fall into each other's arms, laughing and crying at once. The young soldier scans the crowd, then sees his mother. She's here, despite him not telling her, a mother's intuition having brought her to the station anyway. Their reunion is quieter, but no less emotional. Caleb and his grandson are met by a tired-looking woman with hopeful eyes. The boy's mother. She sweeps her son into her arms, then embraces her father, thanking him with tears streaming down her face. Rose steps onto the platform, alone, looks around at the unfamiliar city, squares her shoulders, and walks toward her future with her head held high. One by one, they disperse into their new days, carrying with them the memory of the journey, the long night through the mountains, the gentle rocking of the car, the community of strangers who shared a few hours of their lives. They'll remember it years later, that last train through Appalachia, when travel was still an adventure, and every journey was a story worth telling. Up in the locomotive, Red Mallister wipes his hands on a rag and nods to Isaiah. They'll have an hour to rest, to grab some breakfast and coffee before they make the return journey back through the mountains. The train will carry different passengers, different stories, but the same magic. As the morning sun climbs higher, warming the platform and burning away the last of the mist, the train sits quietly, resting like a faithful old horse after a long ride. Its metal skin ticks and pings as it cools. Steam hisses gently from relief valves. It has carried its passengers safely through the darkness and delivered them to the light of a new day. And in a few hours, when the whistle sounds again and the wheels begin to turn, it will head back into the mountains, back toward that small station with the peeling paint and the single light bulb, where Samuel will be waiting, where other travelers will gather on the platform, where other stories will begin. Because that's what trains do. They connect, they carry, they bring people home. And as long as the rails run through these ancient mountains, as long as there are journeys to be made and homes to return to, the trains will keep running, their whistles echoing through the valleys, their lights piercing the darkness, carrying us all safely through the night. Sleep well, traveler. The train has brought you home.